Foundations settle or sink when ultimately the soil is dry, when it's the absence of water that ultimately causes or potentially produces an environment at which a structure can settle or sink. And so what happens in the soils when water is absent or it dehydrates is it contracts. So it ultimately pulls away from the home. And you'll sometimes see that as a homeowner. When you look next to your home's foundation, there's a gap, there's a shadow, there's lack of soil. You ultimately can water that gap. Water it 10 minutes a day, maybe for 5, 6, 7 days. You'll know when to stop watering when ultimately the soil is sitting against the foundation once again, and it will happen. But in the absence of water, you ultimately are producing an environment which the house can settle or it will sink. And what ultimately happens there is the foundation will chase the soil. It actually leans on the soil itself. It's a mutualistic relationship, and one counts on the other. So when the absence of the soil against the foundation is happening, the foundation will actually kind of chase that and look for that support. And so from the inside, there are signs of settling, and you'll see it in the form of cracks. That's the most obvious in your sheetrock. Outside of the corners of doors and windows, you'll start to see the sheetrock pull away or begin to crack. One thing people don't necessarily realize is the cracks, if you check their direction, they will point towards where the settling of the home is happening. And so if it's leaning or crack is diagonally moving to the right, go to the right corner of your home, and that's most likely where the settling is taking place. If it's leaning towards the left or diagonally moving to the left, it's probably pointing towards the left side of your home. If it's running across your ceiling, front to back, it's either the front or the back that potentially is settling. So we understand the movements of homes extremely well with our structural consultants. We have over 40 years of experience with our structural consultants in the field. We're local to Kansas City, so we understand Kansas City soils and how they affect structures, and so we understand the signs. And not only do we understand the signs, but we educate homeowners on what the signs mean, and ultimately it will help us point out to solutions that will provide lifetime solutions, so we don't have to experience any more settling. But you'll see things like sticking doors. You'll hear that every so often. Look at the gaps around the doors, and you'll see them change if they're not consistent. If one side is wider than the other, then that's a sign of potential settling. Windows that aren't opening correctly or stuck shut, stuck closed, or stuck open, that is signs, or can't close. Those are signs of settling as well. And you'll see it in the walls of your foundation in your basement or outside the footing. You'll see gaps or cracks in the footing or the walls of your foundation. That's potentially a sign of sinking or settling. The good thing about KC Pier is we digitally draw out all our solutions. We will take measurements using either lasers or altimeters that will provide really detailed elevations of the foundation that ultimately can provide a lifetime warranty, so as a homeowner that your repair is not only done correctly, but it's also protected for the lifetime of that home.